Hello everyone and welcome to Cozy Sunset Games. My name's Allie. Today we're going to be finishing up the build for the Cozy Cottage. This is just the outside area here. So grab a drink, grab your fuzzy blanket, and come hang out for a while. So in the last video we did the kitchen, we got together the garden, threw some general stuff outside as well. This is just some stuff that I've thrown into the living room here. This is the lay of the house. Now down here, I really wanted to have some sort of a clinic. I think that this was giving off like witchy older lady who heals people on the side. And at first I wanted it to be very, very informal. And then it's slowly changed into a little bit more than an informal kind of treatment center. And here I'm trying to figure out what shelves to use and how to use them and what to put on them. You'll notice I have some bottles on the floor there as well. Just some things that I think that I want to stick on the shelves for this treatment center here. And then I did make sure that these can slot into the case there. And then I went out and I took out a bunch of them. I don't know if you do that when you're building or not, but if I see something I might want in debug, I place it there, I go and I get a few of them. And then I really did struggle with how I wanted to lay this out. So at this point I was still thinking informal, maybe one person comes here or so. And I did know that I wanted to have all of these medicines is what we're calling them in the game. I wanted to have them like out and on display, like easy to grab, but not so easy for somebody else to grab them. So the lesser serious ones, they're going onto the shelves that you see on the wall. The more like serious ones, they're going to be locked in the case. So here I am just throwing these onto the shelves here. You'll notice that I put a bunch of boxes down. Those are from Dream Home Decorator, they're shelves. But it's so that I could remember which one I have already done. Because I didn't want 3 shelves of one and then lack space for the rest. And then these are kind of the more serious ones. They're going into the locked case here. Now when starting this build, I had no idea that this would be the direction that I would end up taking it. I just wanted to build a little cottage that a nice elderly woman is living in. Kind of witchy vibes. You kind of don't know how old she is, how long she's been around. And in my mind, the people in the area kind of come to her, even though she is out in the woods, for different ailments that they're having. And so now I've kind of gotten everything that I want into the shelves. I think that looks like enough in this room. And then I accidentally deleted the floor, which I do that quite frequently. And then trying to figure out the layout here. I wanted it to look nice, kind of like a reception area. Also where that they can make the medicine as well. And then I got the idea that I also wanted to have a cellar down here. So that's what I'm just putting in the groundwork for right now. I knew that I wanted it over in that corner, so I threw it in there. One of the things I hate with building in The Sims is doing basements is when it messes up everything outside on the ground floor. Now here you'll see that I'm putting together these counters and the apothecary station as well. I wanted it to look like a reception area. It is also where they make the medicine and whatnot. And I threw a half wall behind it just so that it... And then this is the idea where I get to make more of a formal treatment center. At first I was kind of picturing this was kind of for storage. Maybe she brought someone down here to assess them. And then I started to get really into it. At first it was going to be like rustic, old looking with these cots. And then I started going through more stuff and more of the debug. And then you'll see here in a second what I actually end up settling on. So these here, they're going to be dividers for in between the different beds. You do want to have some level of privacy. And you will not believe the amount of dividers that they have in this game. And I went through and I pulled out every single one of them. And I decided that this one looked the best. And I was going through it and trying to place them. And then I put that one up and I was considering it. And then I go through here and I place all of these down. This is going to be like for each quote room. I threw in some more lights because when you're treating somebody, you definitely want to have adequate lighting so that you can see. And this is me going through debug, and I find one way better even after I had placed all those other room dividers already. I swear debug gets me every time, and I change things every time. So I started going through the Get to Work expansion pack because they do have the hospital in it, and deciding kind of what I wanted to put with each one here. And then I decided, as in like normal hospitals, you have somewhere to lock up your stuff, and then there will be some odds and ends like on an end table. And I really was trying to personalize it, and then I decided that on this wall, instead of those cabinets that you see there, I decided to go through. This is me questioning what that was. I do that quite a lot in debug as well. And deciding that I wanted a little table there, and I wanted to put instruments on it, something that you might grab to go use if you were treating somebody in this kind of clinic hospital setting. And there's a lot of good things in the Get to Work expansion pack for this type of thing, and I often forget about that expansion pack. And then I decided in here I wanted to place some more of these from Get to Work, the little potions. And so that if something is happening, you can kind of like grab one and administer it, having it close at hand. Also wanted it to look nice and kind of colorful as well. And then I've decided on this floor as more of like a clinic sterile floor, and then I'm more or less a neutral wallpaper. And then going through and putting up some things on the wall here as well. There's no windows in this place, so it might be nice to see a little fake plant up on the wall, I think. And this person here, whoever's being treated here, has glasses and keys and whatnot. Each room will get a robe as well, kind of like a hospital gown vibes. And then I thought that those were the cutest down there. And I did have to, you'll see it clips a little bit, but I don't think that you can really tell. And over here, I wanted to have a pediatric care center here as well. So we extended it to give kids a bit more room, as well as the bassinet. And then go through and get them out some toys as well. I don't know if you've ever been on a peds floor, but they tend to be more like bright and have a lot of stuff, like that bear that I just put on the IV pole. That's so in real life, like kids don't feel as intimidated by the IV pole. I have seen IV buddies on there like that. And then I sized down that playhouse all the way, and it is still functional. They don't play in the playhouse, they play on the outside of it. And then here I am just trying to put up some extra things so that kids will feel a little bit more comfortable in here. You know, maybe Void Critters is really big and the kids love it. This clinic area took me a whole lot longer than I thought it would, because I was just going in with the intention of doing a small little like apothecary studio, a like cellar room with a bunch of canned goods and whatnot. And then I decided, no, we're going to have a full-on clinic here as well. And then that chair there is just for the parents to sit while the kids are in the clinic. And then we start doing the layout for the waiting room, because I decided that there's going to be a waiting room as well. And so I just go through all of this, and I'm looking for just kind of odds and ends, specifically like a magazine rack. I have seen it before. I had a tough time finding it. I should really get Twisted Mexie's Better Build By mod. I did have it at one point. so that I'm not scrolling as much. I cut out a lot from this video, and most of it is just me scrolling through and chucking things into other rooms that I think would be good there. But I did find a magazine rack and then threw some books out and whatnot. And then I just wanted a very neutral kind of color. And then here I'm creating kind of a little triage center here where, you know, whoever is assessing can come in and triage the patient and kind of get a baseline of what's going on with them. And then some instruments here that they might use. I wanted to look like that was added in later, the little half wall, so it's wood. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably have a bathroom somewhere down here. So we threw it up there. And so that when people come here, they can use the bathroom down here, because I don't think my sim wants them roaming around her house all for free, willy-nilly and whatnot. And then I like to paint the outside walls of the basement black. I don't like this stark white on it. And then here we are into the living room. Now this living room gave me probably the most trouble out of all of the rooms. I started in one place and then we end up finishing in a completely different one. I did know that I really liked this couch and I was liking the setup. I liked the fireplace where it was. And I really just wanted to give it that kind of elderly place vibe. And so you'll see in this that we start here and with all the crafts and everything like that, the craft table back there, and then we go with something else. And then I wanted the fireplace to kind of be like the center focal point. And then here we are alt placing these. I don't like how in The Sims everything has a perfect little slot. So you'll see me do this a lot in my builds where I alt place stuff. And then just a little rocking chair because I thought it fit the vibes. And then I was thinking maybe having some photos up here. You know, maybe that's our sim when she was younger. And then I was trying to do like a little gallery wall myself. And then I found this little gallery wall and I really liked it. And then I wanted a warm and cozy kind of feeling for the living room as well. So we have the dark brown wallpaper. And we're going through and we're trying to find maybe some stuff that can be thrown onto this as well and make it look nice still. And then I did have a thought of, you know, maybe her daughter is an artist or her son, or maybe she is. So I chucked those sketches up there and I was kind of just feeling them out to see how we were going to go. And then just alt placing stuff. This build took me a whole lot longer than I thought it was originally going to, with the amount of detail that I have outside and then in the house as well. And then here I am just sitting here taking it in for a second, trying to decide what I do like, what I don't like, what I need to change. And then we do some minor adjustments here. I was looking for more of a rounded table. I didn't find one that I liked. And then I'm trying out these curtains. I really do like these curtains. They're from Adventure Awaits. They really give kind of like an old style vibe. And then this bar matches them from Adventure Awaits. They did a patch update a while ago so that the bar and the actual curtain bar are the same color. And then here I am sitting with it, trying to figure out like what to change, what not to change. And I decided I liked it. So we're moving on to the bedroom. Now this is only one bedroom home. And it is for just the one lady now. And so I wanted it to feel older. I wanted it to feel still kind of cozy. I was really feeling yellow in this room. So a lot of yellow accents in here. The walls end up being yellow. And then here I am trying to figure out what kind of lights we should have in the bedroom. And then I decided that I wanted a runner along the bed, but I wanted it poking under the bed just ever so slightly. And then that was a bit of a pain to do. And then here I am. I'm trying to decide what type of light source I should have over here. It seemed really dark. And then I just like to sit in the tab mode where you can kind of take in everything and figure out what you do and what you don't like, what you want to add. I find that really helps me. And then this person, they're a reader. They have another book beside their bed because who doesn't love to read a good book right before bed? And then I found that picture frame there, and I really like that one because it's not so perfect. And then this is like the mudroom entryway area here. A lot of doors in this little hallway here, so I couldn't add much. And I don't know what it is about green, but you'll see it in a lot of my builds. Green just absolutely has me in a chokehold in The Sims right now. And I love this little dresser that the phone's on, and I love that color of green. And then I'm trying to make the green work. And then this is me looking down the hallway and then going to the other side and kind of getting a visual of what it will look like if you were to enter this room. And again, I can't really add much because there's 5 doors in this one small hallway. But I did want more of a personal touch, so I wanted it to look more like a Sim lives here. And so I put this rack together and the mail shelf together, I guess you could call that. And then here we are, we're moving on to the outside. I start with a bit of the lighting and going through and just adding in some finishing touches here to the roof. And trying to decide what else I need here. I did have that earlier, it got deleted at some point and I really liked how it looked. And then here we are in night and we're trying to just line this little makeshift path that we have here out to the garden space. And then just adding in just some extras and then kind of organizing all these things that I chucked outside because I thought maybe I'd like to use them. And then with the awning there sitting so close to the house, it kept getting risen up to the platform height and I didn't want that. So I put in those little flower pots so that it wasn't floating anymore. It's just built, the flower pots are built around the awning now. And then over here, I really like what I did with the pillows over here, and I have them outside on this little bench here in front of this well. And then I wanted some light, but I wanted it to be sitting on the well, so that's why I raised that up there. And then I remembered, oh no, I forgot to do the cellar downstairs, and I do that a lot in this game. I jump from one room to the next. And I wanted this to be a lot of canned goods. Now, if you saw the first episode, you'll remember seeing that we have a bunch of canned goods right in the kitchen. So this is where they're keeping their extras. And when they're starting to run low upstairs, they grab some more stuff from downstairs. And I wanted it to be like kind of more dingy in here. I wanted it to feel really like an old cellar. And then I don't think in this build anything else has given me more problems than trying to pick what shelves to use. And so I line all of these ones up perfectly. I think they're perfect. You know, there's some clutter on one of them. And then I'm putting these in and I'm slowly realizing they only slot on the top shelf. And as I'm going in, I'm like, maybe I can just live with that. Maybe the rest aren't as bad, or I decide to alt place everything. So I left it and I came back. I knew that I wanted a drying rack in here. And then I wanted it to look small and full, but still like an old kind of cellar. And here I am. I'm just trying to figure out where we go from here. I don't typically build cellars in The Sims, but I feel like this build really needed it. And then quick save, as always. Remember to save. There's been way too many times that I have built for hours on end and then my game crashes and then I have to put the game up for a little while. the game needs a little timeout. So I decided to make this room a bit smaller and threw all of that in my inventory so that I would still have it. And then I'm trying to go through debug and decide what types of things you might see in this lady's cellar and what kind of things that we just might need. Those were some seeds from cottage living. They're the big ones. And then here I am placing just so many shelves. And then I did try to organize it. Like one side is the seeds there. The other one has like cans on it. And then we go through and kind of just put in more decoration for the leftovers. Oh, and this section here, this is for all of the animal treats. I decided that they were going to have stocked up at some point. They have 3 of each in total. And then back here, this is where we keep all of the canned goods. I wanted it to look organized. I wanted like all the like things to be together, so I did try to put some thought into that. And then here I am deciding what kind of wallpaper should go there. I decided that it should kind of be like a wooden inside. And then here we are just doing some last minute touch-ups. And let's go in. All right, so let's go through this. This is the woman who lives here. I have a full cast video up about her. And then this is our humble little abode here. So we come through this lovely little archway. And then there's just like a little fairy circle here. I thought it added some character. And then I've been wanting to try to do more with terrain paint. And so that's what I've done here is I've just leveled it up so that you can just walk in. You don't have to step up. Outdoor lighting. A little birdhouse here as well. And then we come down here and then it's just like in a little outdoor eating area and the grill there. She's already started cooking hot dogs. She likes it here. And then through here is our nice little garden area. And she'll have chickens as well. And then just this little seating area here as well. And then we can come back inside here. And then this is just a little walkway here before the door. You can hang up some of your stuff. We got a watering can up there, a little light. Into the entrance room. Not much going on in here because, again, very small. We've got 5 doors. Come into the bathroom right here, which this was a really nice bathroom. I really liked it. Come back out here. Through here is downstairs to the clinic area we built, which we'll do that in a bit. Let's finish upstairs. This is the kitchen area here. Pretty big kitchen area, I think, for the size of the house. Come into this one. This is our nice little cozy living room, and I really do like this living room. I think that it gives off just good cozy vibes in here. I would definitely come in here and sit by the fireplace and read for a bit. And here is the tiny little bedroom. And I was saying that I like this because it doesn't feel as like perfect. These are not like totally level. And it just feels real. And then just an old mirror here. Not much in this room. It is pretty small. Bedside table. This running rug. And then across the way here downstairs. Just a couple little things up here to help take up the space. And then we go downstairs. Here. A nice little sitting area here, little waiting room. And then, oh, I have to delete that. And then in through here, there's a bathroom in there. And then in here is just where you would go to sit. Oh, I would like the walls to be up. So you come in here, the practitioner who's assessing you sits there, you would sit there, and then just some nice little tools here that you might use. And then I will delete that in a second. And then back here, this is where they make medicine. They can kind of like check you in here. This is like the medicine wall where they have a bunch of their medicine out. And through here, this is the treatment area here. So we just have some tools over here, little sitting area. Got some more medicine in here. Come through these dividers here. And then this is a room here for somebody. And so you could pull those dividers to be more shut. And then this is another room in here. And then we come out here, and this is the pediatric area here. Try to make it a little bit more bright and colorful. A little bit more bright and colorful in here for the kids. And so we have the bassinet here, and we have a kid's bed here, and you'll notice that like there is like kind of toddler stuff around too. So in real life, toddler would obviously just go into the bed. And one last look at that. And then next up, we just have this little cellar here that took me a lot longer than I thought that it was going to. And we have the treats here, we have the canned goods here, the seeds here, more treats here, and then just some like extra stuff on the floor here that I thought might look good here. All right, everybody, so this is our little cozy cottage here. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this series. Sorry that this one took so long to come out. And you can go and you can download this from the gallery. I will put all of the information for that just in the description box below. Feel free to like and subscribe. Subscribing and liking costs nothing. Comment if you have any thoughts or anything like that. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. And remember to stay hydrated, loves.